Hi again, everyone, and we are back at Hamburg Mobile Summit Live, and we are ready for the next session, which is going to be a fireside chat delivered by teams from Adjust and Rollic. Um, Hi Kansu, hi Burak, good to see you.
Hi, Igor.
Hey Burak, can you hear us?
Nice to see you. Hello. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you guys? How do you feel?
Yeah, we are super
All
excited
good.
to be here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
although it's my first big online event, so I'm a bit excited. So I feel like it's like a private chat, but a lot of people are watching, so I'm feeling excited too.
Yeah, we really have a couple of hundreds people watching us live. So
Hmm.
go share your knowledge with them and your expertise. Good luck with your fireside chat, and I yield the stage for now to you.
All
Thank you
right.
so much, Igor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hope you are all having a great time here. We are super excited to meet you today and talk about the importance of automation with Bragg from Rollic Games. Hope that we will all benefit from their experience. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Cansu, and I've been working for Adjust as a client partner for over a year. I'm supporting and consulting our clients in terms of their app marketing strategy, and Adjust is a mobile measurement company. Our main purpose is empowering you in terms of your app marketing efforts and making marketing simpler, smarter, and more secure, which is our motto. So our platform includes measurement, fraud prevention, cybersecurity, and automation products. And today we will focus on automation part. And Moshi earlier today conducted a poll about automation, and I saw that majority of the audience, they've been thinking to implement automation strategy within their marketing stack. So I thought that it will be really beneficial and helpful. Rolik will share their experience with us. So Rolik is an Istanbul-based game developer and publisher, and they have released super successful global titles. And Burak is the co-founder of the company. And welcome, Burak. It's so good to see you here. Could you please give us a bit more information about you and the company?
Yeah, actually, I'm one of the three founders. So we co-founded Rollic with two of my colleagues, and in January 2019, the company is very young in the sector. But as you mentioned, we released 27 games in a timeline less than 2 years now, 1.5 years, and we did it with 25 different Turkish studios. We are based in Istanbul. We are an hyper-casual game publisher and developer. And so we launched our internal studio in March, and we launched two big games after a very small timeline, and everything is going pretty well. So right now, Rollic is focusing on both publishing and developing side in hyper casual, and titles between hyper casual and casual also. And currently, we are working with 76 exclusive studios, only producing for us, controlling over almost a development community of 1,000 people. And we are building almost 200 new prototypes every month. So scaling and going big on the business side. And I think that's a good summary for everything. And I'm managing the business, product, and publishing teams in the company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Awesome. Thank you very much. If you don't
Mhm.
mind, I would like to start with sharing some numbers on why we need to automate. So,
Mhm.
perfect then. So, we all
Mhm.
know that the user journey is getting more and more complex every day. And today,
Mhm.
marketers use 14 different platforms in order to engage with their users. So 14 different platforms, which means the average number of ad partners you are working with. And when it comes to campaigns you are running with them, which is around
Mhm.
19, and that means tens of ad sets, ad groups, and maybe hundreds of creatives you are trying to optimize. So no
Mhm.
wonder 80% of time is spent on data management side, pulling
Mhm.
reports, merging data, and it's too much manual work and it's really time consuming. And
Mhm.
49% of marketers, they have already started implementing automation strategies, and which gives them a really huge competitive advantage and also strategic advantage. And marketing automation, it's all about killing the complexity and simplifying the process. Imagine being able to analyze your data in one single dashboard, and changing your bids and budget in the same dashboard, and creating some rules to optimize your campaigns without having to log in into different platforms. Especially for user acquisition managers. When we think about their daily life, their days go by optimizing campaigns, doing repetitive works, logging into different platforms, monitoring the performances of their campaigns on a daily basis. And automation will reduce inefficiency on your marketing process, and you will also save your time to focus on more important things, maybe strategy, decision making process, or creative management side. And McKinsey studied this early in 2000s, and it was the reality. People who were a part of automation, they were much happier than before. And this is why automation is becoming an ultimate solution for two major marketing needs. First one is managing a large database, and secondly, saving your time to focus on what matters to you, like decision-making process or strategy. So in the end, you will reduce the inefficiencies, and you will have more time to focus on more important things, and you will make smarter rule-based decisions. And I would like to go back to you and talk about your experience on automation. We have started working just over a year ago from the very beginning of your journey, actually, and you have been using a Just Automation platform since March. So, what were some of your first steps when using a Just Automation platform? Or what was the reaction of your team? Or did you ever experience any pushback from the team?
Yeah, actually, I think there's two perceptions on this. The first thing is on a company owner or a founder level, you don't want to hire a lot of people when you're doing your business, right? And I think in this year, when we observe this current situation in the world, I think every company owner is looking to hire less people and automate more during the business, and that makes sense, right? Because uh, for us, it doesn't make any sense to build this revenue with the people or with 150 people, right? Rollic is right now 27 people doing this much games, doing this much revenue, right? I think that's the best business to have for the future. And that's the first thing. And moving on to that, of course, with that culture, it brings you to be always like looking after new automation partners, right? Because for example, we are managing 26 games, 27 games with a growth team of 5 people, right? Both user acquisition and monetization. So to do that, you cannot do it on a manual level. So you need partners that can give you a faster perception, that can make your workload less in terms of manual processes. And I think that was the beginning idea or the culture we had so when we started looking for automation partners. And actually, as you mentioned, we've been working together for a year now, and it just fit that a lot for us on that sense, because every game, we are not like on casual side of things, there is mostly 1 or 2 games on the casual big companies which they are managing the country campaigns, geographical campaigns, or user acquisition campaigns, but there's only one game over there, right? In our topic, there's like 27 different one, all profiting, all spending some budget, and all making revenue, right? So it's very hard to give the same optimization quality to each of them during your growth processes. So I think the crucial thing for us was moving on to adjust automation and being able to detect our performance in every each of the game, in every each of the campaigns throughout one dashboard. And as you mentioned, I think the biggest problem in the industry is even data scientists are spending 70% of their time looking for the data, right? So I think we covered that using edge automation. And right now, the team is spending like 5-10% of their time looking for the data, and the other 90% is analyzing and optimizing their campaigns or their spends or even their revenue, right? So I think the most important thing for us moving on was being able to use one dashboard to all optimizations, and I think more. I think we'll talk about that, but being able to define rule sets while optimizing, automating automated rule sets using our automation dashboard, like AI optimization on user acquisition campaigns. Those are very important for us also because it gives more time for the team to do the strategy side. And I think in the end, this is why we are still able to stay 27 people and optimize this much games, and thinking like we are launching 3-4 new games every month, and the number is growing, but the team growth is much slower compared to the company growth. I think that's a huge advantage.
I think that's amazing because with such a relatively small team, you are doing a great job, and we are happy to
Hmm.
help you to achieve it. So, when
Hmm.
you think about the automation impact on your business, why does automation
Hmm.
make a difference to your business? Or maybe is there anything you cannot live without now automation wise? Because sometimes, we don't know what we need, but after that, after you have started using it, yeah, okay, we
Hmm.
cannot live without it right now, but you didn't know, you
Hmm.
didn't notice it before.
Yeah. Actually, so think that on user acquisition side, we are using like 20 networks, right? 20 different ad tech companies, 20 different ad tech dashboards. And when you first start your business, you feel more comfortable logging in to each of those dashboards, taking best practices from your account managers and optimizing each separately. But during the growth process, it makes no sense to do that, right? Because there are some certain rules you need to follow to make a proper return on ad spend, to make a proper profit margin on gross margin of your games. And that's a rule set of the company. That's not a rule set of each dashboard, right? Of course, each partner has its own best practices, but you need to follow some guidelines to optimize all of them. So for us, when we first started, we thought that, okay, let's log into this, try to understand each dashboard, try to be very professional on each of them, try to optimize very fastly, but it's impossible to do that on manual level, to be honest, because again, many games, many campaigns, many geographies, etc. So I think what we discovered during the automation process is, as a total company strategy, we are able to follow a guideline, right? Not We don't have to put different guidelines to each of the networks we use. We can have a total company strategy. We can automate that strategy, and we can optimize it using only one dashboard or only one logic system. I think that was something um, gave us a huge pace in 2020, especially 2019 was slower for us in terms of growth, but from January to today, with this automation strategy, I think we are very fast in terms of keeping scale. I think that's very important because on a hyper casual company, every new game is a new excitement, right? But there are games that we've launched in even February 2019 and still scaling and still profiting very well, right? So you should always keep an eye on the past games. You should always keep their scale or rescale the game, reboost the games if there's an opportunity. And I think the ability to do that, you cannot hire like 25 people to do that, right? You should automate your system and you should have a proper company guideline. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with you. And speaking of
Yeah.
saving your time, because I remember back then the traditional way to optimize the campaign. Imagine you are working with tens of ad networks and they have tons
Hmm.
of sub sources under one network. And maybe
Yeah.
you were sending CSV files in order to optimize your campaign. campaigns, excluding the ones who doesn't hit your KPIs, and maybe increasing the ones
Mm-hmm.
who are performing better, or you were talking to your account manager on the ad network side. But for now,
Mm-hmm.
your team also saving their time. So
Mm-hmm.
eliminating those efficiencies, how does that impact
Mm-hmm.
your business? For example, can you give us some examples what you are focusing on for the team, UA teams and BI teams? Is there any specific
Mm-hmm.
thing? Maybe you are trying more ad networks, or producing more creatives in order to
Mm-hmm.
create some A/B
Mm-hmm.
tests, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think the actually there are many obstacles or variables when you're launching a game, right? So in-game metrics is something that you I think the most important thing is the game. Always, I always say this. So if you have a proper game, there are tons of ways to optimize it or do the proper user acquisition or do the proper monetization. But I think if you don't have the proper game, the other things doesn't make any sense for the future, right? I think first important thing is the in-game metrics. In our company, the team handling the in-game metrics are totally separate with the team who is managing the user acquisition and monetization operations. So we are dividing the workload on that sense. But on the user acquisition and monetization side, I think for us in the end of 2019 and the beginning of this year was keeping the scale of the games we launched like 1 year ago. I think that was the game changing part again, because if you have much more time on your automated processes, then the team is able to go back to a smaller game maybe and analyze the game and then reboost the game, right? This happened to us in the end of last year. I think we did an additional revenue of like, I can say 10 to 12% in the total revenue of the company with this efficiency level, right? And that's a direct impact to the revenue of the company and nothing else. Like, yeah, I'm not talking about having good processes or something. I'm talking about having a direct impact on the revenue. So, and I think the reason was that. And of course, it takes out the frustration of the team also, right? Because I think in every job description, everybody is more keen to do more strategical side of things, more analyzed side of things, more efficient way of working, and trying to understand their value against the game they are managing on that moment, right? But if you give a lot of manual workload to this team, then it's like they're like some soldiers doing some soldier work. It's not, it doesn't make sense for where do we stand, right? Especially with for the young teams, I think it doesn't fit a lot as a happy team member. So I think combining all of this, we had a very big efficiency uplift in terms of team efficiency, I can directly say. And on the revenue side, we have a very good percentage rescaling our games and continuing to big scale they have. I think two of these are direct efficiency examples for us.
Yeah, that sounds really good, because I can imagine
Hmm.
doing repetitive works every day. It could be
Yeah.
really demotivating the people. But with
Hmm.
automation part, they will have more time to focus on strategy. They are not the one just changing bits and budgets, going into different platforms, but they are
Hmm.
bringing more added value to the company, and which makes them
Hmm.
more efficient, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's talk about a bit hyper casual business, because
Hmm.
sometimes people assume that hyper casual is less reliant on data analysis. It's more about creating a winner title, which can achieve lower acquisition costs because it's all about scaling. What is your
Hmm.
perspective on that, and what are the key elements which makes you successful?
Yeah, I think that's a direct misperception on that sense, because I in the beginning of my speech I told you that we are launching hyper casual games on the publishing side, but mainly we don't like to name our genres a lot. Like we don't like to call it hyper casual, casual, ultra casual, super casual. We don't believe in those genre names. I think those are very made up, because the thing over there is for us is that you have a proper title with proper in-game metrics. And there are ways that you can do the user acquisition, monetization, and win revenue, or do the scale for the game, right? So each of the titles should be analyzed separately without naming them as any genre, and each of them has best practices, right? So if you have a like 10% day 30 retention, but an hyper casual mechanic, you cannot call it like just an hyper casual game. Then you should know how to properly optimize a casual campaign, casual gaming campaign, right? So each title has its own rules for us, and that's why I think we are mostly focused on the data side of things rather than trying to do a quick hit or quick revenue. It doesn't make sense, because I think on the hyper casual business in the future, I think very soon, the ones who doesn't have a gaming company culture will be eliminated, right? Because on hyper casual, I think there's a misperception of like some publishers are acting like they are marketing companies, and some studios who are producing the game are acting like outsourced developers. This is not the way to do the success in this business. So you should be a proper game company, and you should always focus on your data. I can give you an example that I won't say the game's name, but we have more than 4 games right now that we are able to acquire users around $1.50, almost $2, right? So how can you call it hyper casual then on a profitable level, right? So if you don't analyze your data, your scale will be like slowing down on some time period, and you won't be able to acquire these users that you can even make money when you're acquiring $1 or $2, right? I think that's the example. So if you focus on your data, you are able to identify more users, more advails, etc., so that you can bid more on the user acquisition side of things. And also for us, everybody says like hyper casual is dead after like 2-3 months, and hyper casual title dies. We don't believe in that too, because again, we have games like scaling for 1.5 years now, and they're still continuing to do so, and we'll have more like that, because that's, I think, a focus of operation, focus of live ops, or focus of efficiency in your business. Of course, if you don't have an efficient team or an automated team, you lose some titles because you don't give that much importance to them analyzing their data or future reboost opportunities, right? But if you have correct systems that you can do that, then none of your games, most of your games doesn't die. So I think that's also a misperception for hyper casual.
Yeah. I agree with you because I know that you are such a hardworking and data-oriented team. I think it plays a key role in your success, and you're always trying to improve your strategy and relying on the data. And you are not making decisions emotionally. You are always taking
Mhm.
into consideration data
Mhm.
if you are going to make any marketing decisions.
Yeah, actually, that's right for user acquisition, monetization. But again, I think the most important value of a game company is the creativity of the team, because you need to be creative about your game, right? You need to have on in-game metrics, for example, if the retention is low, the data will tell you what's wrong, but most of the time it won't tell you what to do. So you need to have the creative team to fix that in the in-game side of things. So I think the key to success is on in-game side being creative, and on the user acquisition and monetization, to be data focused. I think those are the two success cases that every game company can follow, actually.
Yeah, fantastic. So we briefly mentioned about the impact of automation has played in your business, and you have
Mm,
shared some numbers like
mm,
10% profitability. Is there
mm,
any
mhm.
other hard numbers or percentage you can share with us if it's not confidential?
I think that's the most important one always, because it's directly affecting the revenue. But I think the most I can give you not like hard numbers, but some numbers about to understand the scale of user acquisition operations. For example, we've produced like almost 20,000 videos in the first half of 2024 our games, right? Almost 20,000. So each of those videos should
Oh,
be tested, right? to test each of these videos, you should open campaigns for each of the etc. So think how big is the operation over there. But again, the team is doing the tests or doing the videos are like mostly 10 people right now in total. So I think that will give a perception. But on the hard number side, I think I gave it the most important one, to be honest. Yeah.
That was really the most important one, and also the
Yeah.
I think benefit is for now you are saving your time to publish more titles. Actually, you are
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to test more titles. So
Yeah, actually, everybody is sorry, Jansu. I'll add one thing. Everybody is thinking that there is some ceiling in hyper casual, or that the number of titles you can produce. I think we've like right now we are like uh, don't see a ceiling. If you have the proper systems on again on automated, then you can continue your past titles and also launch new ones on an efficient level. So on the ceiling level, I think there's no ceiling right now that we see, to be honest.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I was just talking about Moshe also mentioned today automation part will reduce human errors, but sometimes we are making some small mistakes. But those small mistakes,
Mhm.
imagine just a maybe single typo or miscalculation, you could just blow your marketing budget to the bean.
Mhm.
Did
Mhm.
you ever experience something like that before using automation?
And luckily, no. But
That's
I
weird.
think, but I can say that uh, it was luckily, I can say, because we had a manual check process
Yes,
before automation,
that's always the
right? And that was like, so everybody could do a mistake. On our side, it didn't happen, but could have happened, right? So
yeah.
if you have a manual process over there without any logic, without any automated process, I think if you don't have automated alerts or something, there's always a chance that you can miss something. If you put one more zero, everything is changed on that campaign, right? So no, but I think the chance of like experiencing that situation is very low now after the automation processes, because now we have alerts, we have rule sets, the campaign is optimizing itself without us, with our general rule sets, etc. So I think the chance of experiencing that is very low now compared to past experiences. But again, we were lucky, I think.
Yeah. That's good to hear that you have in such a thing.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we have just 7 minutes left, and I have two questions. I would like to hear
Hmm.
your thoughts. And the first
Hmm.
one is let's talk about a bit your future predictions on automation. What do you think
Hmm.
automation will take us in the future, or what are your expectations?
I think I think merging these data of user acquisition and monetization with the in-game optimizations is the key, right? So I think identifying users who is not going to spend time in your games and maybe showing more ads to that user before they leave, or identifying a user may churn, showing less ads to make them continue playing the game, etc. So user level user acquisition after the user acquisition, user level monetization will be the key and the future of automation for us. Also, we have our own SDK, and it's not an open SDK for outsiders, but Rollic team is directly using it with all of our titles. And the thing we are working on is the AI systems that we can combine our monetization and user acquisition knowledge with in-game metrics, and maybe have the game on the remote config side, which we can able to optimize per user, right? And I think that's the key for the future automation. So right now we've checked the box of user acquisition, automating user acquisition, automated bidding systems for the targeting ROAS, etc. Those are we have the ability to do that. So those are checkboxes, but we haven't combined this with in-game optimizations until now. I think nobody does that very much, right? So I think those merging those together will be the future of automation. like having no boundaries between the metrics outside of the game and then with the metrics inside of the game. I think combining them is the key for the future automation systems.
Yeah, exactly. And my
Yeah.
final question will be, what would you say to those thinking adopting automation within their marketing stack? Because we saw that the majority of the audience, they've been thinking adopting automation. So what would you recommend them from the beginning to the end?
I think first you shouldn't stay uh, in this business. There's two ways of doing your costs, right? You can hire people and spend the money to that, or you can do the automation and spend the money to the partners, right? I think choose the partners. That's the key over there. Choose a proper partner who will not help you only with dashboard or account management, but who can also help you with technical side of things and backend side of things, or maybe combining their dashboard or data integration technology with your backend systems. That's what we are doing together with Adjust right now, right? So don't look at partners and say these guys are expensive, we cannot do it. I think there's a certain money you should spend to do those automations. So allocate budget. First thing is that, because in the end you will eventually spend that budget hiring new people. So it makes more sense to do the automation side. I think first I can say that look for the correct partner fitting your business with the past experience they have, that they can bring you ready case studies or ready methodologies that you can apply to your business. I think that's the first key. Of course, you should have that culture of trying to automate everything. I think I can say that think that a job is not being properly done in the company, and you have two ways of fixing it, right? Hire a new people, make him do or her doing it manual, or automate it and keep the team. I think always choose the second one. So don't put new members to the team just to make things done. Try to optimize the team's workload in efficiency level. I think that's the second thing. But on the automation side, try to combine all data you have to one dashboard. That's very important. Of course, make sure everything is running correct. Double check it with the dashboards you have with other partners. But once you make sure everything is running, make company guidelines that everybody can follow in terms of every app, every title you have. It shouldn't be a game. It should be like a normal like another app that have also retention rules or return of ad spend rules, etc., right? So I think once you make sure everything is one dashboard ready to be optimized, you should be able to make a combined strategy for the company that each of the members can follow using your automated systems. I think that's the key for the future, and I think that will be all on my side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think yeah, that's really important to include all the data source in one single dashboard, because you need to see how much money you are spending and in return of how much revenue generated. Because otherwise, you
yeah,
can make your marketing decisions. And
yeah,
also, or maybe it will be better just starting small or checking every campaign, double checking every campaign, and maybe
yeah,
creating some notifications. And after that, eventually, you will get there and fully automate all your campaigns, I think, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Burak. That was super inspiring, and I really appreciate it. And I
Thank you very much, also. Thank you.
and hope attendees can also make use of it. I would like to wrap up some key takeaways what we have talked
Mhm,
about. So
mhm.
I think in a such complex and competitive environment we live in, automation plays a major role because it gives us a major competitive advantage, and it will simplify our marketing process, and it will reduce the inefficiency inefficiencies in our marketing process. And also bear in your mind that single typo or miscalculation, you could just blow your marketing budget to the bin. So you need to be careful for that. But automation will also reduce those kind of human errors. And in the end, you will be eliminating all these repetitive works on your side, and you will be focusing on more important things. Thank you for listening, and hope you enjoy your time here. It was so great to meeting you here today, and enjoy the
Thank
rest of the day.
thank you. Enjoy the rest of the sessions. Cheers.